Hello everyone. Today, me and my colleague from the R&D AI team are going with you to explore what is behind AI agents so that you have an overview, a technical overview of what's going on, and accordingly you can build more optimized agents. Feel free to scan this QR code so that you can ask any questions if you have after the talk ends. Sorry? It's good. So our agenda for today is basically we will go to have an overview about AI agents with its main components, how each component works, and some guidelines of how to make the best use out of these components using some kind of tips and tricks for prompt engineering. So we start with the AI agents overview. As you may notice that the agents are the core component for all the AI or for most of the AI inside Odoo. We introduce it everywhere in every app, integrated completely to support you and to be helpful with fields, with data, with any question you might have, and with any action you might want to do inside it. So when it comes to the agent, it's completely about two main components. The first component, which is the sources, which you will find in the section below where you can add sources for this agent to answer from. It can be from attachments you upload, PDF, BBT text, from documents from your document app, knowledge articles, and even you can add your URLs, and we will get the responsibility to crawl it and store it in our database. So that's what we are going to call the RAG. The other component is mainly about doing an action inside Odoo. So the first one was mainly to answer questions from sources. The second component was to do actions, and it's called topics. Topics is basically a frame that has multiple tools with a clear instruction of what you can do, that guides the AI agent to execute these tools in certain situations based on the user questions. So I'm going first to show you an overview of what happens at the time you are writing a prompt or you're asking the AI agent a question. So the agent has three things: the user query or user questions, plus the active agent sources that you have already said before, and the system prompts that you have already provided as well when you are building the agent. All of that is going to the agent processing engine, which is the RAG layer that is getting the agent to get the most relevant context from the sources that is related to your question, and accordingly integrated this context with the context of the topics, the instructions that guides the AI agent of what to do, and the tools schema, and send it to the AI so that it can help you with answering questions and doing actions. So RAG is basically, or what we call Retrieval-Augmented Generation, is the way to integrate knowledge for your agent, so that it's not a generic one like ChatGPT or Gemini or any generic model, but it's specified, it's trained on your sources, on your specific sources. And it's not only one agent inside Odoo. You can create like a limited number of agents specified for each task you wanted to do. So going to the RAG architecture, or how RAG works, it's basically about two things. The first one is indexation. That's the step happening when you add any source, a new source, to your agent. So first of all, you will be shown a screen like each time you are adding a source to your agent, you will get a screen like that, where you have the four options: upload an attachment from your computer, add a link, add from documents, and add from knowledge. And you can, like for example, you can select multiple attachments at once, add multiple URLs at once, add multiple documents at once, and add knowledge articles, multiple ones at once, or even you can select the parent article and it gets you directly all the children articles supported. So once you are selecting any number of sources here, we start this process in the background so that you are not delayed with any something in your agent. We are simply starting like triggering a cron job that handles the processing of these sources with showing you this message, processing your sources. It might take a few minutes. And what's happening exactly is like, if the source is an attachment or a knowledge document, we know for sure that it has an attachment record in the database. So some kind of optimization we have is that we check if there is a checksum added in like some hashing, if it's there in the embedding table we create. So simply there is no need to create a new embedding chunks for this attachment. And we mark this source as indexed, since we are going, so that in the next step when we are going to use it, we're completely relying on the checksum of doing that. So that kind of optimization saves us a lot of time, saves us a lot of resources, instead of always, whenever adding a source, creating chunks and embedding them using the AI embedding model we have. If it's there, it will be there and it will be used directly without any kind of duplicated chunks created. So that's kind of optimization. If it's there, so we completely mark the source as it's indexed and it's ready to be used. If not, we simply are going to chunk this document into smaller pieces of text, so that it can be better, like each chunk like represent an embedding record. It's really easy to be stored, it's really easy to be used. Instead of giving all the document as one chunk, chunking gives us more accurate answers and saves us a lot of resources. And once these chunks are created, we are ready to send them to the embedding model that the agent is using. For example, if you're using a model from OpenAI, we have a specific embedding model from OpenAI to create the embedding vectors for these chunks. If you are using a specific model from Gemini, we have a specific embedding model from Gemini to be used to create these chunks. And whenever you're switching between these models, for example, if you were using in your agent a Gemini model, and you have already added some sources, so these sources might be embedded using this model. So when you change the model to a different provider, we need to re-execute the embeddings with the new provider embedding model, so that it's a clean process. Like whenever you add a query, it will be computed using this model, so we can get accurate results based on that. So once the embedded is there and everything is okay, we are ready to use these sources, and it's marked as indexed. That's for attachments and for documents. For URLs and knowledge articles, it's a bit different, since we need to trigger two crons. The first cron is basically to get to the content of these articles or web pages. For example, if it's a URL, it needs to create a request to access this URL, to check if it's possible to crawl it ethically or not. For example, some sites might have some restrictions, might have some robots, the text file that they don't prefer automated crawlers to crawl their sites. So in that case, we have nothing in hand to do, and you will be shown that the source will be shown as failed, and you will be shown the reason why it has failed. If something that you can do to fix it, there is a retry button so that you can fix the issue and click the retry to retry generating the content from this URL. If not, simply no solution for that, but to get this content in any format else and provide it to the agent. For the knowledge articles, basically you are getting all the children articles from there, extracting the text content from the HTML pages of their HTML pages, and then we create an attachment and doing the same process we did before. Like it's the same cron used here and used there. Checking duplicates. If yes, then no need. If no, then we need to create chunks and embed accordingly. So that's for the indexation part. That's when you build the index. Every time you add a source, this process happens in the background. For the second step, or for the second part of the RAG architecture, which is the retrieval. It's when you are using, when the sources are there and you want to use the agent chatting with. So what's happening here is simply you are writing a prompt, you are writing a question. So we are taking this query, generating the embedding vector for this query based on the model assigned to the agent you're using. And once this vector is created, we send it to our embedding table and say to it, measure the similarity with all the vectors of the active sources of this agent. So it's filtering the sources to have only the sources related to the agent, to this agent it comes from, and use only the active ones of them, and it gets the similarity, rank them, and then it retrieve like the top 5 similar chunks and send them back to the LLM model. And in addition to that, we are getting the source names. Like for each chunk, we have its where it comes from, like the attachment's name, the document's name, the article's name. We also provide that so that the AI, whenever it's the time to generate the answer from this context, it can provide you the clear reference of where this information is coming from. And once the chunk is there with the reference as well there, so we simply append the chunks to the other context we are getting from anywhere else, like for example the system prompts from the topics description, and then add and finally like context ready for LLM so that we can send the request for LLM. So mentioning that you need to rely on this context to answer the question for the user, and so on.
Now we are going to talk about tools and topics. So let's say that you want to give the AI the ability to perform some actions instead of just generating text. So what you can do in this case is define what we call as tools, which are basically server actions with AI, if you are familiar with what server actions are in Odoo. You need to provide the description of what the tool does, and I will use the example of one of the tools that we have already implemented at Odoo, which is create a CRM lead. So what do you want to create a CRM lead? You need some parameters like the name of the user, his email, his phone number, and you need also to give the description of this tool to the AI so that the AI can know when exactly to use this tool. So in the example that I have given, let's say that some customer is talking with your chatbot online on your website, and this customer shows that he is interested in the product. So the AI will intelligently recognize that it can create a lead for this customer, and what it will do is ask the user for his name, email, and phone number, and it will basically send these data to Odoo along with the name of the action to perform, which in our case is create a CRM lead, and Odoo will perform this action, not the AI specifically, so that it's secure. We execute it, not the AI. And we also have this notion of topics, which basically is a group of tools for a specific purpose. So one of the topics that we have at Odoo is information retrieval, which contains multiple tools that can be used to fetch data from the database, so that the AI can answer questions like what is the volume of sales of a specific product that we have. And this is the flow normally of tools execution. What do you give to the AI? It's the description of the tools that you have, along with the instructions on when and how to use each of these tools. And you give it what we call a schema, as I've said, the parameters that are needed to execute the tool. And as I've said in my example, like the name of the user, his phone number, his email, to create a specific lead. You send this data to the LLM, and then the user starts his conversation, and intelligently the AI will detect if the user is interested in our company or our product, and it will intelligently ask Odoo to perform the action of creating lead. Odoo will perform this action and send the result back to the AI to generate a nice response message to the user. This will never be able to be executed properly unless we have good system prompts and prompts in general. And in our case, what are system prompts? System prompts are something that you give to the AI to give it extra context about its task and what it should exactly do. And a system prompt can be large or small, depending on what exactly do you want to achieve. So this is one example from Odoo AI that we'll use to demonstrate. Now, how should you write this example or pre-prompt? You need to give the LLM a persona, which means what should the LLM do exactly? In this example here, we will use this LLM to generate emails. So we give it instructions, clear instructions that you are an email prompt transformer. We tell it that it will receive an input as a prompt and it should generate an email with no commentary. So the AI shouldn't say, oh, okay, here is your email. No, we don't need this commentary because this body will just be inserted directly. So you need to give it a description, a specific description of what it will do, and you shouldn't use fluff language. So you need to be extremely precise in what you want the AI to execute. So for example, if you need to summarize some text, you shouldn't say I need a summary of this text. You should say I need a 3-line summary of this text. There is a huge difference between the two. What else also that you can use is giving examples. So you give the AI examples of what the input is that it should receive and how it should respond to such input. And as you can see, we give it an example of a prompt from a user and we show it how the email should be structured. And whenever you have a very long prompt, you should use separators. So as you can see here, we use 1 execute, 2 placeholders, 3 unquote, because AI can understand punctuation and it helps it better to recognize the text that it sees. There are few caveats that small changes in prompts can lead to larger changes in the results. So you need to be precise exactly on what you need the AI to do. And different prompts work with different models. So you cannot expect that a prompt that you give to one model will work the same exact way with another model. Like OpenAI is not the same as Gemini. So there is differentiation. And there is no right and wrong system prompts. You need just to tell it exactly what you want to do and to be precise. And yes, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Hi guys,
Hello.
Thank you for the talk. So there are a lot of questions and they are a bit technical, so I do my best to explain them. The first question that I have here, someone is asking how extensible is the system to add other LLM backends or things like OpenRouter?
So for now, we just have only all the models from OpenAI and Gemini. They are all supported, even GPT-5. Hopefully later we might have some other models, open source models, but for now it's just the two for 19. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Another question is LLM cache used for static context?
LLM cache used for static content?
No, we don't cache anything now. Right now, no.
Okay. So another question is, do we have to pay extra for more prompts?
If you're in SaaS, you're free, but just use it wisely. If you are on-premise or SH, you will need to provide your keys, and it's completely your responsibility to handle that within your package.
Okay. Another question following that one. Can agent work on an on-premise instance?
Yes, but you need to provide your own keys.
Okay. Is it possible to create an agent in the search bar in the support and later bring to a real agent? Not sure I understand that question. I'm sorry.
Maybe he means like to integrate an AI agent inside the live chat.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
If that is in here, it's possible.
Okay.
And we have also website snippets specifically for live chat that you can add and use any agent on this snippet.
Okay. Will .csv be supported as a RAG source format in the near future?
Yes, that's on. That's one of the tasks that we are going to resolve soon, since it has a specific kind of chunking, so that we need to take care of the columns names and the fields to be each field to be specified to a certain column, and dealing with the row as a whole chunk. That might be supported very soon once we're done with it. So yeah.
Okay, great. Someone is asking, could I build an agent that consults information from the database, for example, journal items in the accounting, and based on the source documents, help to review if the accounting was correct?
Sorry again.
So basically, the question is asking if can the AI use source documents such as sales order, accounting, and try to review and give explanations if it is well done or not, basically?
If, for example, these documents are included inside the Documents app, like for example in the Invoices folder or in the Finance folder, yes, you can simply go select the documents and go to Documents app and select these documents, whatever you want to use. But if for example, if it's in sync with this folder, like you have an Invoice folder, and you might think that once I'm adding this folder, I'm in sync whenever I'm adding a new file, it's updated. The synchronization is still not there yet. It's just like what's you're adding is what's your agent answering from.
Okay, great. Does Odoo fine-tune the native agents? Is there a way to fine-tune the custom agents without adding example just in the prompt?
No, there is no way currently to fine tune.
Okay. Do you know if it's coming like one day?
No, because we don't really. We rely mainly on the models from OpenAI and Gemini. We don't really have a way to tune the models currently.
Okay. How to decide what LLM model suits best for my needs?
So basically, you should try and see what works best. Like there is no really, well, like in our experiments, we found that some models work well with Gemini, like Ask AI, and some are working better with OpenAI. So there is no specific formula.
So it's trials and error.
Yeah, it's trial and error.
Right. Okay. How do you make sure that for data-related questions, AI provides valid answer? Can AI explain how answer was delivered?
Actually, like if you go here, we have this field called restrict to sources. For example, if you want the AI agent to answer only from your sources, you simply click you simply check this field, and you make sure that it won't go outside, it won't get the answers from anywhere else. If the answer is there in your sources, it will provide it. Otherwise, it will say, sorry, I don't have any answer in my context. So this field is really important when it comes to such cases. Otherwise, there is no guarantee it might get some answers from outside. Like it might use both, like if the context and external sources, but you need to validate that, yeah.
And also in most cases, the agent will provide references at the end of its answer. So which sources did it use for answering this question?
You can always check, basically.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Can agents answer questions directly, such as a customer giving a sales order reference and asking for an update on the status?
No, it cannot answer like messages directly.
I think Ask AI can do it. Like if, for example, since Ask AI has this information retrieval topic, it might be aware of getting an access to the record and check if, for example, the status, what the status is exactly. Yeah. So it's possible with Ask AI.
But it cannot answer like automatically. Like you can ask it, it will give you the answer, but you should copy and paste it like and send the message.
Okay, great. Someone is asking how to overcome security issues so that the user cannot ask, for example, the salary of another employee.
Actually, for like in general, like Ask AI, for example, the user like it gets what the user has only read access on. So if, for example, there are salaries records that the user doesn't have access to, it won't get him this report. It will only get him, it respects the security access rules. For the agents, whatever the source you add, it's like you're training your agent to be using this source. So for now, anything you add to the agent, it can answer. It can use it to answer in its answers for any user. Maybe later we can provide some kind of group users so that you allow certain users to use certain agents. But for now, any agent can use by anyone inside Odoo. Yeah.
Right.
So make sure just not to add any kind of sources that might have sensitive information.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. There are a lot of other questions, but I see we are running out of time. Is there some place people can find you?
Yes, you can find us at the booth just outside here.
The AI booth.
The AI booth, yes.
Okay, so you can always ask all the questions at the AI booth.
Sure.
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.